If you tuned in to our last episode, then you know that we are currently looking at some of the nostalgic candies we carry in our store. In part 1 of this series, we looked at a few different candies: old-fashioned hard candy, Smarties, candy necklaces, and rock candy. If you haven't seen it, go check it out, then come right back and watch this episode. Now let's dive into part 2 of the series. The fifth item on our list of nostalgic candies is this gum that I have right here in front of me. Now, I know what you're thinking, Nicole, there are 3 gums there. Yeah, I know, but I'm lumping them all into one category. So this gum here, we've got Blackjack, which this was the first chewing gum in America. It was created by Thomas Adams. Also, the first gum to be made in stick form. That's pretty notable. We have a lot of gum in stick form now. A lot of it is much smaller sticks, but this paved the way for all the other gums. The Big Red, the Double Mint, all of that formed just like this in stick form. Now, this has been a favorite amongst black licorice fans since the late 1800s. That's a long time. I don't like black licorice, but if you do, check out the Blackjack chewing gum. The next gum that I have in my hand is Beemans. Now, Beemans was created in the late 1890s by Dr. Edward E. Beeman. It was originally called Beemans with an apostrophe S. They later dropped the apostrophe and just called it Beemans. Now, the funny thing about Beemans is this was originally formulated with what is called pepsin or pepsin powder. And if you're thinking, well, that kind of sounds familiar, I'm not talking about Pepsi, okay? I'm talking about that pink liquid medicine that you sometimes take when your stomach's just gurgling a little too much. Maybe because you ate too many nachos the night before, or sugar-free gummies, or keto candy, or anything with MCT oil in it. You just combined way too many foods that should not have been combined. You reach for the Pepto-Bismol. So this gum right here, Beemans, was originally created with pepsin powder, and it was used to ease heartburn and to aid digestion, just like Pepto-Bismol is. And it still has that same kind of minty flavor, but it doesn't have pepsin powder in it because, fun fact, that's really bad for you. So instead, just chew some Beemans or take some Pepto-Bismol. The last gum here is clove. Now, clove has a pretty unique flavor. That's about all I'm gonna say about that flavor. It's also been around since Prohibition era, and it was valued as a breath refresher. All those people that went out and drank at the bars when you weren't supposed to, or they were making moonshine and drinking all their moonshine when you weren't supposed to, they probably chewed clove gum to hide that smell that lingered on their breath. So, number 5, nostalgic gums: Blackjack, Beemans, and clove. Next up on our list, number 6, is what a lot of people just call wax bottles. But these wax bottles have a brand name, and that brand name is called Nik-L-Nip. Now, Nik-L-Nip has been around since the early 20th century, a long time ago. And the name Nik-L-Nip, it's a combo name. Nik-L-Nip comes from the combination of a few words. Nik comes from nickel, which was the original cost of a pack of Nik-L-Nip bottles. Nip comes from basically how you're supposed to enjoy these. You're supposed to bite the end off, and then you take a nip. Back in Prohibition days, they had nips, basically, which were like those tiny little dollar-sized bottles of liquor that you can get everywhere now. A nip, you just a little bit, just a little sip. So Nik-L-Nip, you just bite it off and you just drink this. So what is this? This is a wax bottle, and it's filled with fruit-flavored liquid. That's it. If you look, you can kind of see the little bubbles. Yeah, there's liquid in there. These things can get pretty messy. If they get a hole in them, that liquid, it just drips right out. If you bite it off, then of course it's gonna come out. I'm gonna demonstrate it for you. It's wax, so it's intended to be chewed, not swallowed. You should not just throw this whole thing in your mouth and just chew it all up and be done. You bite the top off, and then you drink it. Did a pretty terrible job of biting that. Be careful when you bite it. You don't want to actually close the wax. Pardon all of my lipstick getting all over this, but if you look inside there, you can see there is a tiny hole there, and you just drink it out. What does it taste like? Believe it or not, they do all have different flavors. Orange, yeah, it was orange flavored, but not just regular orange. They have fun little names for all of these too. So orange is oh so orange, and then the red is chillin' cherry, because of course it is. The yellow is not mellow yellow, that name's already taken. It's hello yellow. And then the green is groovin' green. And then the internet didn't tell me what the blue one is called. The blue is not one of the original 4 color flavor combos. I don't know when the blue came around, later, but it's probably like blazing berry or some other catchy thing. Now, does it taste good? If I was a kid, I'd be like, yeah, this tastes good. Because it's kind of reminiscent of like Kool-Aid, or you know those freezer pops that are real popular with kids? They come in like the plastic sleeve. So if you were to not freeze those and just drink them, that's exactly what this tastes like. And then, once all of that's gone, they recommend just chewing this like gum. And like gum, you're not supposed to swallow it. You just chew on it, and chew on it, and chew on it. Let's be honest, some of you adults out there, I know you swallowed this. That's Nik-L-Nip. They've been around for years. They're super popular. Kids of all ages love them. And adults, when they see them, they're like, hey, do you remember that? They kind of lose their appeal, which I don't know why they would. It's just wax that you get to chew on. It's like eating a candle, and it's not even scented or flavored.